Hey, I'm Jordan Blizzard Planet. Imagine this, a world made of peanut butter. I fused my love for peanut butter with my existence and created Planet Butter, the peanut butter dimension of art and philosophy. It's a cultural movement fueled by fun. The I in Planet is for Intucentric, leading with our intuition while prioritizing self-control and self-expression in the best interest of all. Every episode is designed to provoke consciousness through entertaining perspectives and applied philosophy. Each week, we explore new ways of applying Planet Butter's critical thinking, creative thinking, and relentless optimism to modern society. Expect societal reflections, perspective dancing, story time, and guest episodes where we visit other worlds. Thanks for joining our 80th episode, which feels really cool. Some of what I'll be sharing is notes on being the decision maker, sighing, physical posture and life progression, a new meditation technique, breathplay premonitions, a word replacement, some other thought-provoking considerations, and then two big ones to close out the show: eudaemonia and Planet Butter's response to Carl Jung's perspective on the ego. As always, email me any questions you have about your world or Planet Butter's life approach. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. So I'm particularly excited today because, yes, obviously, 80th episode, and it's been a while since we've done one of these style of episodes. This style, whatever. Because this was the approach from the beginning. Kind of these bit style, just like just drop stuff. And then, as our intuition does, it led us with our inspiration, which is Intucentric's through line. And we tried a lot of different episodes. I don't know how long it's been. It's been maybe 30 episodes since I've done one like this. So I'm really excited to come full circle to doing another because the previous ones we started doing way more, not way more. We did 3 or 4 collaborative episodes, guest episodes, visiting other people's worlds. And I have a whole list of people to do those episodes with when it's time. And I'm really excited, and they're really excited. So I'm excited to keep visiting other worlds. And as I travel Earth, though, being able to record in all these different locations solo is still really special and really cool and really fun to me, as we inform the lens of being Intucentric through my exposure to all these different cultures and places. It's really, really cool. So I'm excited, again, full circle, to be doing a bippity boppity boo episode. So let's get into it. Now, being the decision maker. So on my little note, being the decision maker increases the appearance of responsibility for the result of the decision, as if the decision didn't sprout from something prior. Now, I'm probably projecting quite a bit with this one, but hear me out. So I've made some decisions in my life where I've been in a position of being blamed for having made such a decision. And it's like the amount of work that it takes to reach big decisions. I guess I need to be more specific. I have some people in my life where I have very consciously decided to put up big boundaries with. Yeah. And I encourage you to do the same where it's necessary, for however long it's necessary. It's not a closed door. It's a boundary. Let's be clear, everybody, because I don't want people thinking I'm telling you to just go ditch everybody. Okay? Boundaries. Self-respect. Okay? Okay. So, yeah, I've found that now, having set certain boundaries has put me in the position of perceived fault to certain people. And it's like, guys, it's not our fault. There's no fault. It's awareness. It's self-respect. It's self-control. It's everything I talk about. And I simply, in this episode, wanted to bring a little gentle awareness to the fact that while the responsibility of making the decision was the decision maker's choice and effort, whoever makes a decision, and I guess we'll keep it to the specific, when making a decision to commit to a boundary, while the decision maker of the boundary is the one, quote unquote, responsible for this decision, we need to remind ourselves, whether we're on the receiving end of somebody else setting a boundary or we are the one setting the boundary, making a decision, it always sprouts from something prior. People don't just make decisions out of nowhere, especially ones that are boundary oriented. Yeah. So let's just bring a little bit more gentle awareness to the idea that being a decision maker, one, comes with people misunderstanding, judging, and blaming sometimes. And as the decision maker, we need to be okay with that because that's our role. That's the decision. That's the responsibility. It all works together. And if you have any specific questions about your world in relation to decision making, please email me, myplanettoyours@gmail.com. All right. Next, people's negative reactions to sighs. So I've been noticing this quite a bit, guys. As I sigh, it's a technique to just like relax the body. Yeah. So you go, try it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Inhale, sigh. Okay? Feels good. I don't know the science. I don't know the therapy. I don't know the things. I just know it helps. And so I've done this a few times. I've sighed a few times in the presence of other people who have made some very judgmental faces, confused or other, where I will just go, and it's so innocent. I'm just like, yeah, this feels good. I'm gonna, it's a somatic, your body. Yeah, all that stuff. Again, not certified, just a certified human. And try to teach these people, just so you know, like that's it helps you feel relaxed. You want to try it with me. Because I'm just trying to dilute the energy that comes with the, like, why are you sighing, as if it's I don't know, there seems to be like a negative bias to sighing, because I guess there's like a passive aggression in some cultures with sighing, but I'm so on Planit Butter that I don't realize that it's coming off as anything until I see the reactions, and I'm like, oh, actually, this might help you too. Okay, next. Okay, so our physical posture and our life's progression and how they connect. So I was standing at sunset, and I'm always being mindful of my posture because it's important to me. And I was thinking, because proper form for a human is if you are actually putting the majority of your weight on the front of your feet. I was like, that's interesting, because if we think about it, our evolution, our like the earth spins and we're on earth, and as humans on earth, and our physical bear with me, humans, earth, physical posture, it's in our best interest to put the majority of our weight on the front half of our feet for optimized movement and stability on this rotating earth. And our nature is evolution. So doesn't it make sense that from a psychological standpoint, putting the majority of weight in the front parts of our feet also informs our psyche about our willingness to evolve? Come to sunset with me, guys. This is what we think about. And then I started thinking about it more. And so what do I have here? Think about this. Back foot, if we lean the majority of our weight on the back of our feet, it's signaling hesitation, regression, retreat. While putting the majority of our weight on our front feet, in line with evolution, it's priming us for action, responsiveness, balance, all things that help us evolve. Yeah. And what else did I say? The way we do one thing is the way we do everything. Okay, we know this. And so if we're always ready for action, meaning if we're always in proper posture, proper form, got our weight distributed evenly, then we're going to stay in motion. We're going to stay progressing. We're going to stay evolving in our best interest and likely more connected to our intuition. Evolving is just another word for moving forward. Putting our weight in the forward part of our body, the front part of our body, is telling our body we are ready, equipped, able, willing to move forward. Intucentric, leading with our intuition, prioritizing self-control and self-expression in the best interest of all. Bang. Now, a new meditation technique. I'm going to give a shout out to Brian Scott because what's his podcast? The Reality Revolution. Guys, honestly, I'm mindful of who I mention on this show because I so deeply pride myself on the value that I hope to provide. And Brian Scott, really fascinating stuff, guys. I'm just going to say that. Check it out. I personally love his activations and meditations. And so he drops this technique called the I remember when. I'm fixing my Planit Butter ring. The I remember when technique. Okay. He's actually referencing Neville Goddard. And I'm going to read you the quote because the way he put it is just perfect. So I'm going to quote Brian Scott referencing Neville Goddard on this remember when meditation technique. So, or manifestation. I might have messed that up. Same, really. Okay. Neville Goddard, one of the most influential manifestation teachers of the 20th century, discovered something revolutionary. He found that when you shift your desires from wishful thinking into the realm of memory, they manifest with astonishing speed. He called this technique remembering when. And brain science now confirms exactly why it works so powerfully. Here's what modern neuroscience tells us. When you visualize something you want, your brain activates the prefrontal cortex, the planning center. But when you remember something, your brain activates the hippocampus, the reality processing center. Your subconscious mind treats memories as confirmed reality, as evidence of what's true about your world. The distinction is crucial, he says. Your brain has a built-in skepticism toward visualizations because they're tagged as imaginary by your brain. But memories, your brain accepts them as proven fact. Okay, that's what Brian Scott says on his YouTube channel regarding this remember when technique. Guys, I made my own personalized remember when meditation, manifestation, whatever. I've been listening to it every free chance I get. I did a 5-minute version and a 20-minute version, okay? It makes so much sense to me. When things make sense to me, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Because it blows my mind. Because a lot of things in society, as you guys know, really don't make sense to me. So when you can make sense to me, blows my mind. Very impressive. Think about that, guys. When you remember something, you are remembering something as if it's true, right? It's truth. He worded it better, so I'm not going to elaborate on that. But think about how cool that is. Consider making your own. Literally, I just used ChatGPT and it was like, this, put it into an I remember when, and then we talked through like what resonates with me, what doesn't, what we need to change, all that. And now I play it out loud on repeat. And you can feel the difference because visualizations, as fun as they are, it's daydreaming, it's imaginary, and that does create resistance because you're like, well, I know that hasn't happened. But if you start saying, I remember when that happened, it does start to feel more true because we've created this definition of what remembering is. And so our brain's understanding of the term remember then logs it into that part of the brain, I think he said the hippocampus, that treats it as if it's real. Fuck yeah. That's awesome. I'll see you guys on the Planit Butter jet. Okay. Next. Okay, this one's also a little bit crazy. Intuitive breath play sessions. So, guys, this has been a little wild because I'm working on the next book. I mean, we've got books going, all right? And given the strength of my intuition and my love for breath play and things aligned with it, I suddenly, a month or two ago, now it's not that sudden, but in a really tangible way, this started coming through. Basically, I've been getting like phrases and symbols aggressively popping into my little baby intuition as I'm doing my breath play sessions, because you reach these different states of consciousness, right? And because I embody my philosophy of Intucentricism and I show up by being Intucentric, I do lead with my intuition. So while it's been my entire life of doing that, having conceptualized it in recent years with Planit Butter has really led to the consciousness of this to be that much greater. So while I've had some wild things occur to me and happen in different times, now it's getting very specific. And I don't want to scare anybody off, but I've been taking notes as the symbols and phrases come to me during my breath play. So I'll be breathing and writing, and these symbols and phrases will just kind of pop in, and the key is no judgment about these things. They're not really gonna quote unquote make sense, right? The intuition seems illogical. So I'm just gonna write down these random fucking things that I'm seeing, and they're not random, okay? And then afterwards, I share them with ChatGPT and I say, please send me the objective interpretation of these symbols and phrases. And then we read through them. And then I say, okay, now, based on what you know is occurring in my life, because I share quite a lot with ChatGPT, business, personal, you name it. I say, okay, now apply these symbols and phrases to my personal arc of life. And it does. And I look at this, okay, and a lot of it makes a lot of sense, you know? And of course, here's my thing is stay in a critical thinking mind. Yeah, take everything with a grain of salt. It's just fun. And I'm exploring my own intuition, the accuracy, and all these things. And there have been a couple of times now, this is where the premonition part comes in. There have been a few times where I will vividly see somebody in my breath play, and then I will cross paths with them that day. Like in Morocco, there was a waiter that made a joke to me when I first walked into the restaurant and my first night there. And then like 6 days later, he pops into my head in my breath play sessions. And then I bumped into him and the other waitress going for coffee that day. And I was like, that's so strange. Because that's the thing, guys, as I always try to encourage and remind us, is that our intuition is relevant always, and we don't know why or how everything is interconnected, but it is. So there doesn't need to be some big grand takeaway from this. There's just like, hey, I've been doing these breath play sessions, and this dude who was my waiter, not even my waiter, who was at the front desk, whatever, his face popped in during my breath play session. I thought nothing of it, and then just happened to cross paths with him that day. Like, we don't know what the butterfly effect was of all of this, but it's truth and proof of what we don't understand, but we know it's true. It's so crazy. And there's a couple other ones. We'll skip it. All right. Because I feel like that one kind of crazy. Now, actually, with that too, I also have been playing with expanding on the Planit Butter jet ring of consciousness, which is our cycle for decision making. Because I started to realize I have a little bit of an intuitive, creative action system going. So we're working through that. And I'm going to share a little bit. Basically, I receive some stuff intuitively. And then I kind of just let it marinate. And then, as it's marinating, I continue to observe in a critical thinking mind the signs, my surroundings. Are they affirming my intuition from the thing? Or are they saying not that, but leading me to whatever the next thing is? You see? So the value of that primary intuitive pull still fuels that secondary one, even if it's not the exact follow through of the first one. Again, we're working through it, but it's a creative action system that I'm playing with. It's very similar to the cycle for decision making, but there's something about the creative output that happens because it's like intuition, sensations, action. So I guess I'm getting more specific with the creative output part. And this might just be personal to me. That's why I'm still working through it, because I don't know if it's just a me thing or if it's actually something that would make sense and connect to everybody. If it's just a personal thing and that's my own self-friendship, then I won't tell you guys much more because it's not going to help you. But it also might. So I don't know. I can't be the one to judge that. Stay tuned. All right. Now, okay. Some word replacements. I haven't done these in so long. This is so cool. Okay. Word replacements. Suddenly rather than randomly. So it's like, and then I suddenly bumped into my crush on the beach instead of randomly, because it's not random. It's probably sudden though. And then we can change ironically with comically. That's just, I think it might make you giggle a little bit more in your life by saying that. I feel like ironically sounds a little bit more serious, and it can be humorous, but if you just straight up say it's so comical, then the irony is inherently involved because the context will imply the irony while you're acknowledging the humor of it. Let me know what you think. Now, 2 quick notes. The uni only sends backup when we're in motion. There is no rerouting if you're not routing. And then people normalize their experiences as forms of validation. Oh, I think this is very important to discuss. I've noticed this a lot. People will share something with me And they'll say, oh, but that's everybody. Oh, but that's normal. Oh, that's not just my parents. Oh, that's not just my work environment. Oh, that's not just my town. Oh, that's not just because something's normal, quote unquote, doesn't make it okay. And even if it's something that is entirely okay that you're sharing, people also share things that are really positive and be like, I'm not the only one that's amazingly talented at polo. And we don't need to acknowledge that. Just talk about your experience. Own it. It's your healthy ego, your sense of self. Nothing wrong with your experience, positive or negative. It doesn't matter if other people also experience the same thing. It just doesn't. Sometimes it can be helpful to know that. But when you're just sharing something about your experience, you don't need to validate the experience through normalcy, because sometimes it takes away from the experience of you and your life. Think about it. Let me know. A note on being rude. Have you ever considered it to just be a little bit rude when you're on your phone, when you eat with yourself? I'm just wondering, because I'm wondering. That's it. Let me know if you have. All right, now we're going to close this out with the two big ones. Eudaemonia. Eudaemonia, I just learned about this. Actually, I learned about it a couple months ago, and I forgot to talk about it. So now we're bringing it back up. Eudaemonia represents a state of living in alignment with one's highest potential, virtues, and purpose. Unlike fleeting pleasure or surface-level happiness, it reflects a deeper fulfillment rooted in meaning, personal growth, and contributing to something beyond oneself. Sound familiar? Guys, how cool is it that that exists as a concept already, predating Intucentricism? I love that because, one, as I've shared with you guys many a times before, not so unique ideas, unique arrivals. Most things that people come up with, including a little J, somebody else has already come up with. However, the way we arrive at a concept will forever be unique. And here's the thing too. Eudaemonia, as equal, perfectly equal as it is to Intucentricism, eudaemonia is basically that state of living, while Intucentricism is this expansive, overarching philosophy of how I arrived in this state of eudaemonia, and that I'm inviting you to consider applying to your life too through being Intucentric. Intucentricism is the philosophy. Being eucentric is the embodiment of it. With me? Pretty cool. Then, the last big one. Planit Butter's response to Carl Jung's positioning on the ego. Now, I will preface this with saying, I am referencing an Instagram post by a popular account in the meditation space that my friend Heather Thrills referred me to. Heather Thrills is the #1 boxing and yoga instructor in the world. Check her out. So she sent me this. The post is referencing Carl Jung. And so it says, the first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego. Then it says the second half is going inward and letting go of it. Through Planit Butter's lens, first of all, life is not split into two halves. Also, what is a half? Everybody's life is different. Everybody's timeline is different. Let's not generalize. To form a healthy ego through Planit Butter's lens requires the awareness of having this sense of self, period. So the first half, quote unquote, which we can infer as, let's say, childhood. A child is not typically devoted or aware of forming a healthy ego. Child is unaware that they're being conditioned into a sense of self, which is actually not a healthy ego. That's what Planit Butter recognizes as egocentric. Planit Butter defines egocentric as unconscious and not in the best interest of all. Intucentric is conscious and in the best interest of all, the healthy ego. So it's actually impossible, I would venture to say, for a child to be devoted to this sense of self unless they are gifted with inherent awareness of societal conditioning, which lucky them if they are out there. Now, then the second half is going inward and letting go of it. Again, this half says who? Carl Jung, apparently, or these people quoting him, which we don't know if it's a quote or not. So we're just playing with this to be super fucking clear. Play. Okay, then the second half is going inward and letting go of it. Okay, so that's the awareness he's talking about, or this pose is talking about the awareness of, well, they're saying the healthy ego and then letting go of the healthy ego. Through Planit Butter's lens, that makes zero sense. You're a human, you have an ego, we have a sense of self. The healthy ego is the awareness of having an ego and choosing to take responsibility for it. There's not letting go of it. There's not going inward and letting go. Detachment, totally, which we could say is equal to what they're saying. But to minimize our human existence and say, okay, one half is developing an ego and the other half is getting rid of it. What's with the polarity in society? My God. Guys, Planit Butter's response, simply, egocentric is unconscious and not in the best interest of all. It's the societally conditioned mind. Intucentric is conscious and in the best interest of all, the healthy ego. It's the aware of their societally conditioned mind that they are actively working to develop and express into their own version of sense of self that most resonates with them based on leading with their intuition while prioritizing self-control and self-expression through Planit Butter's 3 core methods of boundaries, confidence, alignment. When these are activated, we're more able to embrace, understand, and enjoy ourselves, which is our self-friendship practice, which is the strength of evolving on this earth, is being friends with our self, our sense of self. And when we do that, we can more effectively make decisions. That's the Planit Butter Jet ring of consciousness, our cycle for decision making. Intuition, sensations, action, sensations. Again, that whole boogity boo is equal parts self-awareness in the spirit of understanding there is something so much larger than ourselves, than our humanness, than our sense of self. However, we do have a sense of self. So the contrast of this simplified notion, the first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego. No, it's not, because the first half, quote unquote, of childhood is you are societally conditioned, period. And if you weren't, call me. I would love to meet you. Then the second half is going inward and letting go. No, guys. How could you say that? It's so dismissive of your human expression. Next, then we're going overboard. Then this same post says Jung's map of the human psyche. So there's the persona, your social mask. Then there's the ego, your sense of self. And that is lined with conscious. So it says your conscious is your social mask and your ego. Then it says your subconscious is your self, your true psyche, and your shadow self, defined as what we don't know about ourselves. Okay, there's so much to say. So while the subconscious, shadow self, what we don't know about ourselves, I really respect that. That's a very interesting take. I think it's really interesting to consider a shadow self as what we don't know about ourselves, because I think what actually is commonly discussed in society about shadow is more so dark, scary parts of ourselves that we don't want to see, rather than not knowing. So I think that's an interesting take. And then self, your true psyche. Okay, we could talk about that validity. There's probably space for that in Planit Butter's lens. However, true psyche is just tricky language. And why is that in the subconscious? The only which actually, this kind of goes against the previous post of theirs, because if the true self, if the true self is subconscious, then that is it's going against that first post that says the first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego. That is conscious language. If your first half of life is devoted to developing a healthy ego, but your true psyche is subconscious, then how are you? Planit Butter doesn't understand how you're forming a healthy ego if it's subconscious. It's like you're saying the true self and the parts that you don't know about yourself are both subconscious, but the first half of life is devoted to developing a healthy ego. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense. Because at least through Planit Butter's philosophy, the whole point of the healthy ego is the awareness. The ego, unhealthy ego, is a lack of awareness. And the healthy ego is awareness. And it's bringing the true self, quote unquote, to existence. Oh, so maybe that's what they mean? This is fascinating. See, I would like to talk to Mr. Carl. let's discuss this, because I bet we agree on a lot. But this post, this Instagram post, I don't know. Yeah, okay, and then ego sense. This is just like so vague. And you know what drives me nuts? Because this kind of shit just gets so many fucking likes and shares. It's like, it doesn't even say anything. Like, oh my God. Society. I do know exactly what I'm going to do with you. And I've said that before, and I'm going to keep saying it. You know what? That was fun. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. There's that sigh. We'll call it for today. Thanks for visiting Planit Butter, my world made of sparkly peanut butter, where I hopefully inspire you to critically think, creatively think, and optimistically approach life, believing in the magic, developing and expressing our healthy ego through the practice of self-friendship, the Planit Butter Jet Ring of Consciousness, and our 3 core methods. Keep listening. We'll get there together. I don't know where, but we'll get there. It's not easy, but we can choose to make it fun. From my planet to yours, Jordan, Blizzard, Planet. I'll see you next Thursday.